So who's your starting quarterback?
Me right now. Me right now.
What do you think of those guys? Obviously, they have and are going to rotate with the starters.
Yeah, I mean that deal is going to work itself out. Obviously, I mean, Patrick's sitting there. I mean, he's got a lot of experience, and so that counts too. And so, but ultimately, whoever executes the best is going to be the guy. And so they know that. Right now, they're just trying to learn and compete and put the ball in play, really, because the communication is really the hurdle we're trying to get over. Is just the way we communicate. It's just different than most people. And
terminology or what?
Well, terminology, yeah, and just the process of communicating. I mean, with their getting signals from me, and then they're communicating with the group, that's all like learning a new language. It's like I told you to learn Spanish in 2 days. It'd be tough, right? I mean, just communication is, and you got some miscommunication. You got, quarterback flashing signals quickly to the receiver, and receiver not getting it, which is typical, frustrating for me, but typical. And so, there's nothing out of the ordinary, just the fact that you gotta be able to communicate before you can execute.
I think Patrick said the other day that you're asking him to do more maybe than the quarterback did last year in the offense. What are the differences there?
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback just communicates more. He handles those 10 guys on the field. And so everybody looks to him. And so, that's probably a little bit different than what they've been doing. So just put a lot more on the quarterback as far as, in my opinion, to get in and out of plays quickly, it's better for him to communicate because then you don't have people looking over to the sideline. You got one guy looking to the sideline and everybody else looking to him.
Mark said it's good to have your fresh eyes on this quarterback competition. Do you sense that a guy like Drew feels excited to have sort of a fresh that he's had, on equal footing maybe going into this?
I think him and Reese both did going into it. It's unfortunate, with what happened to him, but I think anytime there's a change, then you're able to perform on a clean slate. And so I think that anybody that's not starting probably is excited and looks forward to that.
Boom had kind of dropped off at the end of last season.
Who's that?
Boom. Not Boom, I'm sorry. JoJo. As far as the running backs, how has he worked his way back into the fold?
We've been no pads. And so it's kind of hard to tell anything up front. And that, a lot of times when you're no pads, run game looks bad in general because you can't block anybody with no shoulder pads on. And so you can't really evaluate that until you start putting pads on and it starts becoming real life. And so really, it helps me for these 2 days to be non-padded because it is more about communication. And obviously there's some execution things that you want, but, the biggest deal with me is being able to communicate across the board and stuff like pre-snap penalties and stuff, which we wasn't very good at today. I think we jumped off sides 2 or 3 times a day, which is not going to, we're not going to tolerate that. But stuff like that, you can't, how can you evaluate when it's not real football? It's tough.
So just to be clear, you're calling in plays to Patrick and he's signaling to everybody else?
Don't be telling everybody that.
What playmakers have kind of jumped out to you so far just after 2 days?
None really. We're having, we're putting some emphasis on throwing the ball down the field some. And I would say that the playmakers right now are probably on the other side of the ball.
How are Patrick's mechanics and how much are you focusing on that?
Well, I'm just trying to get a read on what I need to work on with both of those guys. And so, to me, especially like day one, I'm just watching them, And so both of them, in my opinion, need to be more relaxed, more calm. And so, to me, everybody teaches different footwork stuff and everything. I'm a huge proponent of, being calm, I don't need a lot of wasted movement. I want you, because in my opinion, if your demeanor's calm, your brain's typically calm and functioning at a normal rate of speed. And when you start getting choppy and body mechanics start going fast, then your brain typically is functioning at the wrong amount of speed than I want it to function to. So to me, I just got to slow those guys down a little bit. Slow their process down, slow everything down. Their mechanics are fine. They've been throwing the ball for a long time. And so, stuff like that, I won't work with a whole lot. There is some small things with both of them that I've addressed after day one that they both are, I think you could tell the difference in day two as far as just in drill work, once it gets to team, you typically revert back to what you've been doing. So it's a process. It really is with that because it's easy drill work But once things start flying, then you typically revert back to what you've been doing for a while. So that's a process.